morning, everyone. Nice to be here again. I think the theme of the conference, the future of business, has been very well articulated by the 12 CIO groups. I think you must have got an idea what are going to be the roles for the CEO in future, right? But let me put my perspective onto that. And I think my colleague Abhishek has also shown you in presentation that Chandrayaan is landing very, very softly, right? Within 1 week it will land it. But you didn't see the photograph where there is a fire at the bottom. That is the launching of the flight, right? The same thing what I am going to discuss, when you are going to be a CIO, what kind of a heat or role you should have it. So that's the purpose of the topic today. There are very good studies available there. I will share 1 or 2 papers with you, but I will put my experience of about 12 years into those things, what as a future CEO you should do, and what are the roles to do that. Okay. I think the concept of the very first 1000s for CEOs are very, very important. And this concept was originated, I heard from the books only, by Franklin Roosevelt, the US president. He took about 100 days to understand what his predecessor has done and what the other things I need to do it. I think the book says, in a record, this is a record in US history, this is the president who did lot of new, audiences and so many things he brought in first 100 days. But it's not a hard and fast rule, right? You should really adopt 100 days. In our industry, we call it a honeymoon period for a CEO, right? But this honeymoon, I think, cannot exist for 100 days in the time of like this. Some may have 10 days, 15 days, 25 days. And I'm very unfortunate, I didn't have even 1 day of honeymoon for this. The moment I was going to occupy my chair at 9 o'clock, I got a call from my chairman, Mr. Sanjeev Singh, Mr. Deepak Agarwal, where are you? I was very happy that at 9 o'clock, my chairman, when I'm going to occupy the new seat in a new CIO room, he's calling. I was so happy. I said, sir, just now I'm going to sit on my seat, the new seat. He says, don't sit, come to my office. He called me to his office. There were some cybersecurity issues and all, right? And that day, I think my 2 months, you will not believe how we handled the entire cybersecurity posture in the industry. I mean, the first 2 months went like that. Because the CIO has to really face very, very different kind of a ball game. Different, because they meet the CEOs responsible. The one thing what was told to me is, Deepak Agarwal, get ready. Second day, there is a TV journalist will be coming. You have to tell what happened and what not happened. Now, where is the policy? What should I speak? What should I tell? So a lot of things, that goes into that. So there is a Gartner paper, the first 100 days CIO. If you can note down this number, there's a 50-page document actually. It talks about the entire framework, what the first 100 days a CIO should do, right? So it's a very good reference paper for you. But a lot of consultants, KPMG, McKinsey, everybody follows almost same kind of a thing. These 100 days, they divide into 2. One is the first 10 days when you are not CIO, and the next 90 days when you have occupied the seat of a CIO. So what I have done is here, I have just highlighted few of the things, Call 1, interview your predecessor. Everybody says interview your predecessor. Do you think Trump must have given all his cards to Biden when he joined as the president? No. It's not so easy. How good friendly your predecessor was there, but whether he's going to share the entire history of the corporation with you or not, you never know that. So very, very challenging things today. Complete the CEO-CIO alignment program. My last 5 slides, from my side, I will give you some tips. When you meet the CEO first time in his room or in the boardroom, what you should talk about, right? My perspective, maybe it differs from people to people. Conduct high-level analysis of current IT capabilities. I think every CIO friend was talking into his presentation. Get feedback, determine your alignment of IT, finalize your vision, mission, value statement. This is a very, very important task. And I challenge you, I challenge any CIO, if you can really articulate, draft the vision and mission of the company from the IT perspective. Because if you understand the vision and mission, it tells you what kind of a CEO is, what kind of a CIO you are going to be there. Very, very important, very, very important. It will tell you what CIO is thinking, what he is going to do, what is in his vision, what he is planning to do in the next 10 years, the entire thing, vision and all. So my request to all of the next 100 participants will be, when you go back, try to write a one paragraph on vision and mission and assess yourself, where do you stand, right? And then try to compare it with the vision and mission of your company. How does it match? It's a good exercise you should do about that. Now let's coming to the CIO role. You all are going to be the new CIOs. I am a old-time CIOs. I started my career in 1984. And when we were talking initially, even 2005-10, people used to talk about cost management. They talked to you about predictable outcomes. You can see how to do the vendor outsourcing, application infra uptime, on-time releases. But these are the new responsibilities. And the first one is very, very important. I think every CIO in their 12 presentations, they have talked about this. This is a very, very important aspect. One liner is know your business. If today's CIO doesn't know the business, I think they are not going to succeed. They are not going to succeed. Leader of innovation, definitely. What kind of innovations you bring into the business through IT, it matters. I just quote a 1-minute example. Indian Oil supplies aviation fuel at the airports. An aircraft comes, park the aircraft at the airport. He rings up Indian Oil, I need a fuel. Lorry comes, stands there, we fill the fuel, invoice is generated. This invoice goes back to IOCL office. He punches it manually into the SAP system. Now, can't you bring an innovation here? This is what is the role of IT. The entire system, we have given the iPads to them, to the pilots. The moment they are landing, information comes to the Indian Oil aviation fuel depot. I need fuel. How much? It tells everything. And when the fuel is done, it's automatically invoice is generated and it goes into the SAP system. So this kind of innovation we are talking into the business. If I don't know how the aviation works, I can't provide this particular innovation factor. I'll say technology, technology, technology. What you will do without it? So it's a very, very important aspect talking of business. Now, this is the first step for a new CIO. I think everybody talks about it, establishing a baseline first. Now, what is baseline? Know your company, know your IT setup first. That's the most important thing, right? How effective is IT today? Are we spending in the right areas? What are my asset base? How I am positioned versus peers? This is a very important part here. How Indian Oil is in comparison to Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, SR, and so many other companies, that is very, very important to know. Very, very important factor for the CIOs today. What are the priorities for business capabilities? Once you talk to the different people, that's the thing. Where should IT focus disproportionately? कहाँ पे आपका IT focus ज़्यादा है, गलत है, कम है, गलत है? All those decisions you have to take here. So that's basically part of 100-day cycle, correct? Then you design your next generation application architecture. Gone are the days client server, Oracle, सब चला गया. आजकल डेट में पूरा architecture change हो रहा है. A CIO has to take a call whether all my services will be available through SOA, service-oriented architecture, or API. That kind of architecture you have to visualize for a company. I will not allow any external system to come to SAP directly, only through APIs. So that kind of a call you have to take it on. Very important is your governance process and teams, which basically will be part of your success into your innovation. Governance. We talk of, a lot of things we talk of analytics. I think in the last 5 years I am hearing. Tell me how many people have made a dashboard or analytics for internalizing IT into their IT setup. I give you a challenge. I give you a challenge. Where is the CIO who monitors himself through analytics or dashboard? Can you give me the output of a programmer in a day through analytics? No. Right? All paper and pencil, but when I go to the business, analytics, AI, ML, all those things we talk about. This is what we are telling. We have to have the governance process teams in place for IT first, then you go to the business. Then clarity, cost, time, this is okay. Now, if you break it, this is the same slide, but if you further break it, it talks about the same thing what I have just now talked. This is a very, very important understanding your business capabilities. First 100 days, you sit with your business people, find it out what are all business capabilities are there. You take the inputs from BUs, you take the best practices, you talk to your peers, so many things you do it. And then you make a basket of what are the different business capabilities and how much is the IT penetration, high, medium, or low in entire business process. That will basically help you to set your roadmap for the next 5 to 10 years. Otherwise, you don't know what is to be done. What you will do? IT is for whom? IT is only for business. And once you know kahan business ka problem hai and how I am representing IT, what you will do? So this particular thing, a particular chart, either you do yourself or you hire a consultant, whatever the way you do it. But yes, this is must in first 100 days. Now, the leading CIOs, I have also got a very good network circle, and I talk to very, very different people. Now, this is how they define their IT strategy and business. You have a corporate vision, then they derive the strategic aspiration of a business from this. Business says, I want to increase my market share. I want to add value to the shareholder. Revenue growth increase, margin increase. Margin in IOCL or in oil and gas is a very, very important thing. We play only on margins, correct? Customer net promoter score, what is that? Does anybody know implies the NPS of your company? कभी आपने कोई IT tool बना के दिया अपनी company में where you can know what is the employee satisfaction level from 1 to 10 scale? So these kind of things what the business is expecting to you. So for meeting those things, you have to prioritize your ITs, your governance, your organization and talent, what is going to be the next gen architecture. आपको जो लाना है इसमें chat GPT लाना है, जैसे भी लाना है. But a basic architecture which is not going to get demolished year by year. You have to build it for years. Definitely, technology is changing very, very fast. 3 years, 5 years, that is the period. But it should cater to your needs. And once after 5 years, you do something, you should not say, I am going to dump the entire architecture. You build some new pieces into that. That kind of a flexibility is there. That is the role of a CIO today. That is the role of a CIO today. आपको वेंडर आया, ये ले लो, वो ले लो, सब करके, there's no point onto it. Until you are very clear कि मुझे अपना technical architecture to support business कैसे रखना है. So these are all things you have to do it. When we talk to the people, there are two categories, CIOs categories, laggards and the leaders. This is what laggards scale is there, this is what leader scale is here. For example, if you talk of leaders, they keep their asset light. Right? But there are some people who keep a very, very IT-heavy asset in their organization. You have to take a call. So there are a lot of parameters you have to define in basically aligning to these 6 structures. Your operating model, next-gen architecture and all. Or you can take automation. Laggards have dev, test, production, sab alag chal raha hai. Let me ask you here. I think most of your companies will be having ERP and that too SAP. How many people have automated their test systems, their release management? I think very few hands will raise. Even IOCL has also not done it. I have not automated my test processes. The leaders do that. Why? Because if I am transferred, I got retired, my test scenario doesn't go anywhere. It remains in the system. My policies, my testing methodology, they all remain same there. So I'm just quoting an example, all those things you can do that. Third point is very important. For the leaders, the 80% of the projects related to the high business visibility. But the other people, they just do for IT purpose. मैंने Oracle लगा लिया, मैंने SAP लगा लिया, virus का ये कर दिया, all those things. But point is, you have to cater to the business. Right? So these are all the things which you can think about it. Again, governance part. Very important. Spend on new capabilities, 0. But the future CIOs, people like you have to think this direction. You have to regular work, grow work, transform work. You have to divide your IT spend into these 3. This is what the good CIO leaders does basically. Optimum level of standardization. I mean, they define everything. So second point is also very important. Shall you do vendor for everything here, or would you like to keep with 3 to 4 strategic partners into your organization who gives you the entire thing? Why? Because the management becomes very easy. The management becomes very easy. Handling more than 10 vendors in your organization. I'm talking of IOCL, where each purchase order has got a significant value because the size of the organization is very big. When I talk of O365 license, it is 20,000 license. It becomes a 3 million deal for Microsoft. When you talk of antivirus, EDR, MDR, it goes into 50, 60 crore kind of a thing. So shall I really have so many vendors? No. I should have a very strategic tie-up with 2 or 3 very, very strategic vendors to be who basically go as per my vision for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Rather than doing tendering every year and taking the L1 kind. Okay, L1 you can't avoid, but do it for once, not every year. At least 3, 4 years, let this vendor also develop. Oh, these kind of strategies you have to take. Ultimately, what I have told you in 7 slides, this is a blueprint. This is your IT strategy should look like. I think every consultant, every CIO will agree with that. You have a business strategy, you have their requirements, you have their aspirations, you have to derive the values out of the vision and mission. You have got so many business units. Today you are here, you have aspiration after 5 years, what should be there? How application, data, infrastructure, automation, this is basically how do you plan the roadmap. Right? Then this major slide gets translated to the second slide when I told you piece by piece. It's a very, very important activity. Otherwise, things will go here and there. You will keep struggling with standardized work right through a year. आपको innovation में काम करने का time ही नहीं मिलेगा. This is what I was talking about, the architecture. I think this slide should have come first. How API service, you design it, how it is to be done. Then you buy the products, correct? How you're going to do an in-memory architecture for every application, how you're going to do it. अब डाटा लेके सब लोग बातें कर रहे हैं. Where is the blueprint for your data lake in the organization? You have to make an entire architecture, right? क्या business का requirement and all this. Now, this is really very, very close to my heart, what I'm going to show you, 5 or 6 slides. I'll just quote 1 minute. When I joined IOCL, I used to work on SCL 8CR machine on Basica language, interactive language, the machine which in some other companies were using for data entry. That was the main machine with IOCL that time in 1984, I'm talking about it. Right? वो सारा इंटरेक्टिव चलता था, बीच में कभी भी रोक दो, कुछ कर दो, 8.5 inches floppy as a data. So that kind of a thing I have worked in that kind of a scenario. उसमें एक मेमोरी को रजिस्टर्स बोलते थे, रजिस्टर्स, राइट? अब अगर रजिस्टर की होती तो 15, 8 के या 16 के का उसका मेमोरी होता था. एंड इफ यू आर लोडिंग द PF डाटा ऑफ IOCL, वो बोलता था फुल, प्रॉब्लम हो गया. अब मुझे बोला गया कि सबका PF कार्ड निकालना है. PF कार्ड मीन्स 1, वो पूरा प्रिंटर का एक पेज, और वो रात को प्रिंटर ऐसे धीरे 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 चल के 15,000 लोगों का PF कार्ड लगा. मुझे 3 दिन हो गए. बाई चांस ऑफिस वॉज इन कनॉट प्लेस, सो food and other things was not a problem at all. I was called in CFO office, why the card is not printed? I said, sir, मेरे मशीन में रजिस्टर का प्रॉब्लम हो गया. ठीक है? And I came back. After 10 minutes, his PS come and he brings me the 10 registers. कि sir, send the 10 registers to you. The point is, using technical jargon with CFO and CEO is the biggest blunder as on date today. Never do it. Don't scare them. But आज थोड़ा सा CEO का हालत change हो गया because they are also technically literate people now. They also move, they talk to the CEOs. CEOs are also becoming very intelligent technology. आज मेरे ख्याल से chat GPT के बारे में your CEOs must be knowing more than you. More than you, I challenge you. So technical jargon CEO के सामने बिल्कुल यूज नहीं करना है. वो आपके मुंह फेर लेगा और अगली बार से आपको बोर्ड रूम में नहीं आने देगा. This is my experience, right? So what you should do, how you should present yourself, this is the way to do it. When you are a CIO and you have your first meeting with your CEO, you should go with such kind of examples, such kind of a graphs. You should say, look, the industries are spending on IT as a percentage, what is this revenue, of their revenue? Indian Oil has got a revenue of what you call 70 billions. 70 billion का मैं अगर 2% भी करता हूँ, I will show it here. What is cement industry doing? What is paint industry is doing? I will talk in that language. I am not using technical jargon. So that CFO and CEO both understand this, what this guy is talking about. And second thing when I tell them is, look, this is how is the spend per employee on IT. Because if you have done lot of automation, definitely cost will be high. So these are the slides which basically board and CEO would like to understand from you. Now how you will get the money from them, this is the way to do it. You divide your work into 3 things: transform, grow, and run. You tell them, on transformation, I am spending only 14%. On grow, I am spending 20%. To run my system, I am spending 64%. Right? So if you ask CEO, you want a transformation, I need 20% more here. So make them understand where the money is required. Don't go with a paper, 14 crore chahiye, 15 crore chahiye, 20 crore chahiye. What for? Ek bada sa page bana ke de. I mean, try to make them understand what do you want actually, what is your peace of mind. And then how your infrastructure cost is divided into that. This is you should tell them. Look, here nothing is coming about grow and run. You are running data center, application development, support, and all those things. Add something onto it. I want to spend 5% on my innovation work. Right? So these are the slides which you should talk about it. You should talk about your industry perspectives. I am quoting an example of Indian oil industry, sorry. If you are in paint industry, Asian Paints, Berger, Nerolac, how they are using digital into their company. Present to them. Get them excited to spend money for you. But don't talk bad point also, talk good points also, where your company has taken a leading position in comparison to your peers. It requires study, huh? It requires good study. And you have a honeymoon period of 100 days. Okay? So this is how you have to manage the things. For example, supply chain or SR. What SR has done 5 years back, Indian Oil is doing now. Because people have thought about it. But why? Because we presented this thing. We presented this thing. So this is how you have to paint a picture to your CEO and CFO. You are talking of digitalization. Please, इतना बोर करते हैं हम लोग CEO को digitalization के ऊपर, analytics, क्या-क्या बोल के उनका दिमाग खराब कर देते हैं. सच बता रहा हूँ मैं आपको. सच बता रहा हूँ मैं आपको. डिजिटल वो और किसी को डेफिनेशन नहीं प्रेजेंट करनी आती कि व्हाट इज डिजिटलाइजेशन इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ IOCL और BP. डोंट माइंड मिस्टर ग्रोवर, आई एम जस्ट टॉकिंग हाइपोथेटिकल थिंग बिकॉज अदरवाइज बाहर जाके. सो पॉइंट इज आई शुड बी वेरी क्लियर what does that digitalization means for my company. Where are the other people into this graph? If Mr. Manish Grover wants to take oil and gas from light waves to storming condition, what he should do, what kind of support he requires from the management. That is very important. As a CIO, you should talk to your CEO. Let him know where do you stand. Correct? Then he will understand it. Again, this is the technical gaps. Very, very important exercise. I don't know how many people do it. It's going to help you for all. आपके सारे business processes का I think Mr. Grover did like that. एक पूरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को उन्होंने मैप किया, रिफाइनरीज, पाइपलाइंस, पेट्रोकेमिकल्स, डिपार्टमेंट वाइज कहाँ पे सप्लाई चेन का सॉफ्टवेयर है, कितना एड्रेस कर रहा है आफ्टर टॉकिंग टू बिजनेस यूनिट. दिस इज हाउ डू यू डू इट. शो इट विद द डिफरेंट कलर्स. ही विल इमीडिएटली आस्क यू, ये रेड क्यों हो रहा है यहाँ पे, क्या प्रॉब्लम है. यू से यस, नाउ माई पर्पज इज सॉल्व. आई विल टेल यू वाई इट इज रेड, बिकॉज देर इज नो टेक्नोलॉजी हियर, आई नीड मनी फॉर इट. Right? So this is how the thing has to be presented to your CEO. Again, I told you decision rights, talent management. There are a lot of tools available on decision rights. One is the, I think I mentioned in the presentation, forgetting, very good tools actually. How to, has anybody defined the roles of their IT organization within the system? या पेपर में बोलते हैं तू डाटा का इंचार्ज है, to ERP का इंचार्ज है. Lot of things goes on a paper. We never define the roles into my system. I don't know, SAP भी अगर आप लोग use करते हैं, SAP HR whether you have defined it or not. So all those things, you have to define it. Talent management, sourcing excellence. These are all different models which you have to do it. Now, this is a very, very important slide. Do you want to set the goals, by a CEO to you, or shall CIO should offer to CEO, kindly monitor me on these parameters, right? Explain him. IT spend versus budget. This is my KRA, this is my KPI. Or this dashboard will be available to you, this is how you should monitor me. So these are the things you have to make. This is broad picture, enterprise security risk index. हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं सिक्योरिटी की, कभी हमने मेजर किया कि मेरे क्या रिस्क है, मेरे क्या इंडेक्स है? This is how you have to define the tables here. Vendor management source card, correct? IUCL has taken, I think, the topmost vendors, HP, SAP, Microsoft, Oracle and all. Have you ever done analysis? What is my engagement scorecard with them? You can have your own yardstick, you can have your own measurements, but at least how CIO is working with the vendor, how is monitoring them, कितनी बार वो fail हुए हैं, कितना बार उन्होंने problem किया, there should be some scorecard into that. If you are not talking to the vendor, then who else will do it? So these are some of the parameters in these 7 areas, which employee attrition. Make a dashboard. Look, 10 people are going every month from an organization. It means what is the problem? Either there is some problem with the CIO, or there is some problem with the organization culture. CEO will think about it. You at least present कि मेरे IT के लोग छोड़ के जा रहे हैं. क्यों जा रहे हैं? मेरे पास architecture नहीं है. Nobody wants to work on the old engine. Everybody wants the new engine. A lot of things, they will come out. So CIO performance balance scorecard, I think you should design it yourself. That is the very, very important slide. Otherwise, though, you are dodging yourself and you are dodging the organization also. And it helps in improvement. Once you will make this balanced scorecard for you, I am 100% sure, आप बाकी नीचे वालों को, you will not allow them to lead a peaceful life. You will make the scorecards for them also. Because from their scorecards, it will come into your scorecard. So the chain starts then, right? And from your side, you should basically tell the CEO what kind of a committees I want to form. We should meet quarterly, monthly, yearly, and all. At the top is your board level. Now, board level is not worried about a thing. He will only talk about what are the technology trends. You tell him ChatGPT is coming, OpenAI is coming, entire board is sitting there. You tell him this is the how organization can take benefit of ChatGPT, OpenAI. All those things you require for these meetings. बाकी आपका जितना operation level का है, this is all being done. You can have 1, you can have 2, you can have 3. I have not purposely mentioned it. Risk management committee. आपके IT systems के क्या risk हैं, security के क्या risk हैं, वो I think as per SEBI ये एक audit committee की तरह से second committee तो बनती. That's why I not mention it. It's mandatory in every organization. You define level A, level B, level C kind of a risk. This is important. This is all from my side.